Thank you, Chrissy. Silica sand, it's not something that many people think about, but you're surrounded by it all the time. It's a product that just tends to be overlooked all the time, despite the fact that it's the most used commodity on the planet after air and water. Some 50 billion tonnes a year of silica sand gets used. And therein lies the problem, actually, because it's being rapidly depleted. But in fact, about 49.5 billion of it goes into the concrete industry. So we're looking at everything else except concrete. So if you look around your home, windows, paint, tube lighting, bench tops, LEDs, mirrors, your fiberglass bath, TV, laptops, phones, monitors, LCDs, the building cladding quite often, plastics, insulation and containers, all are made from have silica sand in them. In your car, not just the glass, your windows, but headlamps, LED lights, LCD displays, paint, tyres and casting that's required for heads, blocks and manifolds particularly. In the renewable industry, which is incredibly growing and fast-growing industry, solar panels, the top and the bottom piece of glass, thermal insulation in lithium industrial batteries, high tensile fiberglass yarn, which is used for the coating on wind turbine blades. All of these are have silica sand in it, and they all require different types of silica sand. So sand is not sand is not sand. So it depends where it occurs, and particularly the contaminants in it will determine which market it goes into. But what we can look at, if you're doing research at all on silica sand, trying to determine where it all ends up will drive you nuts. You'll never find it all out. But the one thing you can find out is that it's running out. It's hard to imagine sand will run out, but if you think desert sands, that orangey red colour, that's iron. When it comes to almost all the uses of silica sand, iron is the enemy. So desert sands don't count. Beach sands are predominantly calcium carbonate, so they don't count as well. So what you're looking for is granite-based sands. And in this case, we have quite a number of them. We've got 5 projects, all in Western Australia, all granite-based, all have nearby infrastructure. They've got access to gas, water, railway lines, and these are very long-term projects. Collectively, we've got about 1.4 billion tonnes. So we're not doing any exploration at the moment, we've got plenty of sand. But each of these projects is subtly different. And because it's subtly different, it ends up going into a different market. So we don't have each of these projects competing with each other for market. One of the markets we're looking at is the foundry industry. Surprisingly, we were doing a lot of metallurgical test work to turn most of this sand into a product that's suitable for the glass industry. And the glass industry is vast as well. But on the way, we discovered we had very high quality foundry sand. Now, foundry sand is not really too concerned about the mineralogical content of the grains. It's all about the size, shape and hardness of the grains. Now, the foundry industry is huge, particularly Korea's got the largest foundry industry in the world. As it happens, India's the fastest growing foundry industry, but in Japan as well, and China, and most of it around the automobile industry. What is happening, this is new technology, is they're using sand as one of the media for 3D printing. And in fact, they can print out now moulds that you can pour metals directly into them. So, and using 3D printing, they're getting very intricate and quite detailed moulds. So where you may have had a product where you made 4 or 5 components in it, you can now pour a mould in one. So it's a fast-growing area of the industry, and what they use is a resin-coated sand with a binding agent, and that's the actual 3D printing media. They print it in layers. It's new, innovative, but growing quite quickly. Not a huge tonnage, but quite specialised sand, which we happen to have. Otherwise, glass making. And what we're aiming at here is the flat glass market. It's called the float glass. But your regular your building glass, but also containers. Within the flat glass market, it includes windscreens and automobile glass. Much bigger market, where we're looking at 10 to 15 million tonnes a year in the foundry industry. We've got nearly 140 million tonnes a year in the glass-making industry. The largest market, the largest production by far is China. So we've got a couple of projects. Our first one off the rank is Arrowsmith North. It's about 270 kilometres north of Perth. It's about 8 kilometres inland. It's a granite-based sand. We've got over 200 million tonnes there in reserve, which is production for another 100 years. We're aiming to put a plant in there at 2 million tonnes a year. Our next project that we're developing is called Muche, and that's only about 50 kilometres north of Perth. Much higher grade, completely different sand, despite the fact that it's also granite and it's all been eroded off the Darling Scarp, which sits just inland of the Perth Plain. We've got 200 million tonnes there as well. Arrowsmith North, it's a little bit unique. It's covered in this bushland, which is only about waist high, and it's called Quongan Heath. So we're treating it a little bit differently. We're actually using a technique called a rehabilitation technique, which is quite unique for that particular countryside. But it's a near-term development. We expect to commence sort of 8 to 12 months following in final environmental approval, financing, and we think we're within weeks of getting final environmental approval. It's been a 3.5, nearly 4-year effort to get to this point. We've grade controlled the first 6 years of production already. We've designed the plant. We've finished all the metallurgical test work, process circuit design and engineering. We've engineered it to death just about, all the way down to fabrication drawings. So as soon as we get finance in place and pull the trigger on this, we can get into a quick smart. We've already drilled a water bore. It's adjacent to the Brand Highway, which is the #1 highway that runs all the way around Australia. And we've got potential gas and or a hybrid power supply. We've actually got a gas wellhead only about 6 kilometres away from the project. We've got an independent technical review underway, and that'll form the basis of due diligence for financial institutions. We're probably highest on our list is Export Finance Australia, which is a federal government funding agency. It's got robust economics. We've got an NPV of 167 million at a 10% discount with 25 years of mining, and keep in mind we've got 100 years reserve. We've got 4 products for the foundry industry, and each of those products are subtly different. Once again, they're different grain sizes, and they go into different parts of the foundry industry. You may not know, but the sand they require to cast the block is different sand than they require to cast the manifold. But we've also got a glass-making product there as well. And the independent technical review. We've got this method for rehabilitation. It's called vegetation direct transfer, and it's quite simple. It's you're taking a sod of earth out pre-mining and putting it back directly behind you where you've already been mining, and it keeps all the topsoil intact and is no doubt the best outcome we can possibly do to have a successful rehabilitation. It's a simple processing flow sheet. As it happens, the key here is attritioning. Now, attritioning is just an agitated slurry where you've got grains rubbing on grains and you polish each of the grains. And the more you polish them, the cleaner the grain, ultimately better quality product. So the rest of the circuit's just getting rid of the stuff that you clean off each of the grains. So it's a simple process. All up, it's about $70 million to build the plant, and that includes all the infrastructure and access and all the equipment required to run it. The Muchet is a slightly different vegetation, but we think this VDT will work there. The recalcitrant species in this case happen to be the low grasses and the sedges. The taller trees are easy to propagate, and we think it'll be successful there as well. Muchet is very large, once again 200 odd million tonnes, but it's low in purity, and this is a different market. This is the type of product we can get up to about 99.9% SiO2, but more important, less than 100 ppm iron. Fe2O3 is, as I said, is the enemy to making glass. The lower the iron, the clearer the glass. Now, the glass we want to make here is the glass that goes over solar panels. It's fairly unique in Western Australia, but there are other opportunities as well because of the quality of the Muchet deposit. So we were published in the Critical Minerals Prospectus. That's put out by Austrade. That's distributed whenever an Australian trade delegation goes overseas. We can usually tell where they've been because we get a whole heap of inquiries once they've left. But the very important bit here is raw material for ultra-clear cover glass for solar panels. The federal government is intending to spend quite a bit of money in grants to have solar panels made in Australia. It's early stages for that whole process, but we've been recognised as having the best deposit with the required attributes to make solar panel glass, and that includes local lime and particularly LNG. And Western Australia is probably some of the cheapest LNG in the world. 80% of the cost of producing glass is energy. So having cheap LNG is a big advantage. So there's potential for production of solar panels in Western Australia. We've also made a silica flour. You grind this particular sand, and the flour is used for LCDs, and that's also a growing market. It's pretty hard to buy anything these days that doesn't have an LCD in it. We've received a grant from the West Australian government. We haven't spent much of it yet, but we have produced flour and we have sent it to potential buyers, and they all agree that it's a great quality and they're prepared to buy some. When we look at our ESG responsibilities, we take them seriously, but we also think the best time to be trying to address any of these issues is at the planning stage. So we've had these in mind for the last couple of years. We're looking at cheap power, we're looking at ways of reducing our footprint and also dealing with local stakeholders. Corporately, we've got sort of about just under 750 million shares out there. We've got just under $5 million in the bank. So we don't need to be raising money at the moment. Our burn rate's very low while we're in the approval stage. We've got a very experienced team here. A couple of them are here, and if you want to meet us, come on round to our booth. But we've sort of got everybody's got more than 20 years' experience in their particular field. So really, it's the right time and the right place. This is an opportunity to invest into resources that are in diminishing supply in Asia, and that's ultimately where the bulk of our market will be. So very long life, high-grade silica sand, Arrowsmith North. We expect our approvals, says Q1, probably Q2. We've got potential to hook into hydrogen projects. A couple of companies, particularly Nippon Sheet Glass, have actually made glass, green glass, using hydrogen. So technically, it's done, and we've got the opportunity there, particularly to get into the hydrogen industry. So thank you very much, and if you want more information, please come to the booth. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.